Hi there, Philip McMaster, Tiandiren. It's a World Sustainability Project, and I have my little friend L.C.P, the low-carbon panda, with me here. He's a fun guy, but he's actually a little nervous tonight. Why? Because you see behind me, this is the skyline of Hong Kong, China. And Hong Kong is just about to experience a superstorm, MANGKHUT, the MANGKHUT superstorm. This is the biggest storm that has ever occurred in recorded history in Hong Kong. So, or that's how it's billed. That's what they're saying. So that's a pretty important thing and pretty frightening, I suppose, to many people. But I don't see people really panicking in the streets. I think they've been through many typhoons before, and depending on the winds, it will be as dangerous as it is if you're putting yourself in dangerous circumstances. So if you're watching this before the storm, please be careful and stay inside if you can, and certainly don't go anywhere near the water, even to look and see what's happening, because being near the water will be very, very dangerous with the winds and with any potential storm surge, and certainly if you're on inland, flooding and so on. So don't do that. But look out the windows and record it and tell people what you see, because maybe, just maybe, this is a bit of a preview of what we're going to see happening in the world that actually we're creating. L.C.P is not creating it. He's trying to protect us from all these problems. But as the newspaper headline goes in the South China Morning Post today, it says, prepare for the worst. Well, prepare for the worst for tomorrow and this week, because there could be immediate danger to our life and limb, and also certainly property and the economy. Economy, I don't remember the numbers, but it costs the Hong Kong economy hundreds of millions of dollars each typhoon. Lost productivity, damage to infrastructure, all these things. It's a very, very expensive thing when the natural world decides it's going to rain hard and blow hard and change things. Look at the wind is moving the camera. But what I'm trying to communicate to people is, well, think of it in terms of the Republic of Conscience, this Conscience Land project that we're working on and trying to get you to be a citizen of conscience. When you think about prepare for the worst, well, maybe it's prepare for the worst in our lifetimes, because we're now entering an era of climate change and, of course, the pollution problems and many other social, environmental problems. These problems are not going to go away just because we ignore them or we deny them. They're not going away. They are getting intensely, they're infecting us in an intense way. And these storms are only a very tiny warning, I would suggest, or an example of what it is that happens. Well, when Mother Nature begins to push us around, well, we're just another species on the planet, so it has complete opportunity to do its thing, and with storms and sea surges and so on. But you know, humans have a very, very short memory. We forget that just a little while ago a flood came through and damaged all these things, and then we rebuild on the same spot. We're not that bright. You know, we don't take these things into account. And I would suggest that it is largely our system, the system under which we operate. I don't want to get into a political discussion here, but really, we're not thinking ourselves, how do we live our own lives in harmony with this planet so that we prosper and we are comfortable and we create a better world for our children. I mean, are we doing that now? And the answer is no, we're not doing that now. We're actually making it worse for our children. We're making it worse for ourselves, and we're denying the whole thing. We're saying someone else is going to look after it, some government or some corporation or some entity, some centralized entity that is going to come and save us. Well, you know, I got news for you. Nobody's coming to save you or me or anybody else. Nobody. The only person that can save you is you. Remember, individual social responsibility, ISR. We've been talking about this in the Republic of Conscience for a long time. Individual social responsibility is the only responsibility that exists as a human on the planet Earth. We've only got one, by the way. So The only thing that exists is individual social responsibility. Well, let's get on it. Let's start being socially responsible. But that social responsibility also involves your interaction or your relationship with the earth. Why? Because we live here. We need the food, we need the water, we need the clean soil, we need the clean air, we need the oceans full of fish, but not overfish them. Don't take the fish out just because you're hungry today. Manage the resources and manage yourself. Well, it's really beginning to rain now, so this will shorten our broadcast a little bit, but you know, to finish up, this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning of not the end, I hope. I hope it's not the end of the world, but you know, it's a changing world, and I think that unless we start to think, reflect, consider, be compassionate, be empathetic to others, realize that others are struggling too, and that your struggles are important, but they're important to you and probably not to anybody else. But if you look and try to help others through their struggles, of course in a positive way, helping them solve solutions to the Sustainable Development Goals, for example, if you're part of that solution, you're what we call V2S, value to society. You're a value to society. However, if you're only interested in yourself, you're only interested in your immediate family, and you're only interested in doing, you know, things for your own benefit and not for anybody else's, you are of almost zero benefit to society. You have no value to society. You're just a blob of meat and bones that's eating and pooping all over our planet. So I would suggest either get off the planet, right, because there's a whole bunch of people who really do care about the place and want it to be clean and nice and suitable for living now and in the future. There's a whole bunch of us, and if you're not part of the solution, please get out, go away, because you're not part of the solution, simply. However, if you are part of the solution, we want to help you. We want to make you very, very wealthy. Now, I don't mean wealthy only in money. I mean wealthy, real wealth, which is family and it's people, the community that is, you know, around you, that you're supporting, that's supporting you. That's wealth. That makes your life peaceful. That makes your life bountiful. That means that you've got a lot of things that are coming your way, and that's life. That's what you're doing this for. You're doing it so that you enjoy your time here. We only last 80, 90 years max, you know, so use it. Don't abuse it, and don't lose it. Be part of the solution. Help other people live a better life. Look at the SDG challenge. I implore you, check out Republic of Conscience and Conscience Land and what we're all about, what we're trying to do. The first element is let's save the planet. Okay, so that's the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. Let's work on elimination of poverty, elimination of hunger, education for all, well-being, gender equality, clean water, clean energy. Who doesn't want these things? Who doesn't want? Everybody wants these things. So start working on it. Start being part of the help. Make that happen. You can check out our SDG 17 index. That's a way that you can contribute to that the SDG goals. And what's our ultimate game? Well, of course, we've got to fix the problems first. You can't live in a beautiful world unless you start acting on fixing the problems. And take your head out of the sand and start to deal with things, confront problems face to face, get your nose out of your cell phone, get your fingers off the games, and start communicating with people. Use your cell phone, but communicate with people about the real life problems and how you're part of the solution, and get them to join you in solving those problems. That's great. You'll be a hero. You'll get universal social credit. You'll start to be indicated on the blockchain how you're part of it. You're a hero. You're part of the early group of humanity who looked at the problem and said, okay, yeah, I'm part of the solution. I'm going to make this better for everybody. And that will be your legacy. That will be the legacy that makes you of value to society. And ultimately the game is, well, you know, don't mean to scare you, but our world, economically, socially, politically, is collapsing. It's not me that's saying that. I just read the news. I just look around. It's collapsing. What are you doing about it? Well, we have a plan, and you don't have to follow our plan, but we have a plan. And the plan is to move off move off the nation state mentality. Move away from the nationalisms, from the fascisms. Move away from this herd mentality of our group is better than your group. Move away from that. Really, seriously. Move away from that, because it's not helping you. It's certainly not helping the group that you're fighting, but it's definitely not helping you too, because it's not helping us as a society and as a species on the planet. It's not helping us be welcome here. So that's number one, is move away from that. Now, you still live in Canada or China or England or wherever. It doesn't matter where you live physically. You know, from space you can't see the borders anyway, and bugs and birds don't recognize the border anyway. So we're the only animal on the planet that even considers an idea of a country. So fine, we have systems, but many of them are breaking down. Many of them are breaking down. They're not working anymore. Now, we need the water to flow through our taps so we can drink, but they're breaking down. Now, so what's the most important thing? Keep that alive. Is that a centralized activity? No, it's not. It's a community activity. The community is what's most important. Wherever you live, whatever nation it is, forget the nation. Deal with your community. Find out who the leaders are and support them, or replace them with yourself if you're better, and make those services work. Community services, food, water, education, all these things, they have to work for your life. They have to work. If you don't do it, nobody's to blame except you. Nobody's to blame except you. Because everybody has this ISR, this individual social responsibility. You have to deal with this stuff. You have to make it happen. And it's your responsibility to do so. It's not somebody else. Not some alien going to come down from outer space and look after us. It's not going to happen. So why are we doing this? Well, ultimately, we need to move toward a platform, a global platform, which if you follow any of my other videos, you'll know what that global platform is. And we need to move toward a governance model, which is basically individual governance. We have to govern ourselves, and we have to govern ourselves in relationship to others. And if we govern ourselves in a positive relationship with others, then that's going to be harmonious, and that's going to survive. That's going to cause our survival. If we do it in a destructive way, well, it's going to cause our demise. So again, it's up to us whether we get along or whether we don't get along. And if we're getting along in order to maintain the services that we need from the environment, then that means we'll live longer. Not only our own lives, but our civilization will live longer. And ultimately, well, we do have a money system, and our money system is, well, I would say it's under attack. It's under enormous stress these days, and it's only going to get worse. I just read that China and Russia are doing military exercises, which is causing NATO to be very, very nervous, and that's just on a military sense. But what about on the economic sense? You know, the petrodollar is not dominant anymore. And the United States going and attacking other countries to force them to use their dollar is not working anymore. 17 years of war, no result. Really, it's not a positive result anyway. It seems as though they're actually in a worse position than they were 17 years ago. So, you know, a lot of this stuff behind us is based on that money system. And that money system is going through not only difficulties because of its own, the weight of capitalism imploding on itself, because it doesn't distribute wealth at all. Well, it says it does, but it doesn't actually do it. And so so that the disappointment, that's why President number 45 is in the United States presidency, is because people are so discouraged and disappointed in the American dream because it's bullshit, that they are fighting against everybody else and blaming everybody else and trying to find some strong man who's actually a weak guy to cover up their problems. So it's all about that. I mean, it's really that the people are depressed and powerless and losing their homes and losing their jobs and being paid a miserable amount of money and living mouth, what is it called, hand to mouth, you know, just paycheck to paycheck. 80% of Americans don't have like $1,000 in savings or something crazy like that. So, you know, it's a real recipe for disaster, a total recipe for disaster. And that has to do with the value of the dollar. So what happens if the dollar just crashes because the economy, because the United States is bankrupt, and actually much of the world is bankrupt because it's based on US dollars and it's based on US debt. So what happens there? Well, not only do you have storms that devastate and cost a lot of money and social capital to fix, you've got economies that are tanking. So, wow, we have to prepare ourselves to live in a world which is significantly different from the one we grew up in and the one we have experienced up to now. So that's part of our project is how do we create this, well, it's called universal basic income. How do we create this way that citizens of the Republic of Conscience or Conscience Land, how do we create a way that they can live, that they can have income for how do we say it, in reward for their efforts to make the world a better place? Because theoretically, that's what companies are trying to do. They're providing products and services, and they're making your life better, and you're paying them for that, or they're paying you to provide that service. But it's starting to not happen anymore. And so robots and AI taking out all of this, you know, taking away our jobs and so on, may make the production of goods faster and more efficient and cheaper even. But actually, it's not so much that we'll need them. What we'll need is the basics, and we won't even maybe have the money. We won't have the currency to buy those products or to live in those buildings or to you know, even travel in those areas. So the Republic of Conscience concept is about you taking responsibility for your own life, your own consciousness, a little devil over here, a little angel over here, and you know, you're making your decisions in a way that is not only good for you, but good for those around you, and ultimately good for the planet, because that's where we live. And if we can do that, that's a great thing. That's a really great thing. So UBI is one of the efforts of Conscience Land, is to create a system. It's like a big, huge pension fund for all citizens who are contributing. All citizens of the Republic of Conscience, Conscience Land, all Conscience Land citizens who are contributing to the system and contributing to the world, making the world a better place, are earning universal social credit. And when you earn universal social credit, that gives you credit. Just like other monetary systems, basically all fiat systems, all American dollars, Canadian dollars, and so on. It's all even renminbi. It's a debit. It's a debt. So we're not making the same mistakes, hopefully, but we're using similar concepts so that people understand what they're doing. They're working to make their lives better. So their reputation is enhanced because they're smiling and changing and unplugging every Wednesday, and they're becoming better people, and they're improving society around them. That gives them credit. Their reputation is much higher. Their esteem is higher. Their self-esteem is higher, but also the esteem that other people hold them in is enhanced and is higher. So that's a good thing, and we need more people like that. Empathetic, compassionate, caring, thinking people who make the world a better place. We need more of those people. We need less of the aggressive, competitive, moronic, violent, you know, I would say a bad word, but let's keep it family entertainment here. You know, we have a world full of really crappy people. Really crappy people. Careless, selfish, well, careless is uncaring, the same word. You know, I mean, man, oh man, it's really bizarre how we've sort of come to this state of the world. You look at the people that are the zombies. We call them zombies. In fact, you should check out dzombification.com. That's one of our projects to get people off their cell phones every Wednesday and become more socially, less socially awkward and more socially compatible. But you know, I look around the streets as I travel around the world, and I see more and more people made into zombies. And of course, governments love that. Governments and corporations love that. They love it when you're dumbed down, when you're not thinking for yourself, but you're following the advertising and the dictums of the state. That's nirvana for them. But actually, it shouldn't be, because, you know, when the crisis hits, when things start to happen, like the storms and so on, when natural disasters happen, you want people thinking, you want people being careful, and you want people helping other people. But you know, that doesn't happen when you create a selfish population that's only interested in gaining money and living in their little, you know, hovels. Those two don't fit together. So yeah, it's a challenging world we're entering. It's definitely a decentralized world, and we need to start to become part of the solution. So it's starting to rain now, and I think it's time to wrap this up. But I do appreciate the time that you've spent, and I hope you feel it's a good investment in thinking about the future and thinking about the now. Think about how you can spend today living a better life and make other people's lives better too. Because in effect, smiling and making other people happy makes you happy. And that just makes a normal, happy person. So, Philip McMaster, World Sustainability Project, Conscience Land, Republic of Conscience, with L.C.P, the Low Carbon Panda. And I want to thank everyone for taking a listen, and don't forget to click below.